Imagine you've been running a restaurant for 2 years. The food is terrible, the staff are revolting, the health inspector is sniffing around, and your head chef has just been caught having dinner with someone who knew Jeffrey Epstein. That is basically the situation Keir Starmer walked into on election day. And today, millions of British voters got to leave him a very public one-star review. Welcome to the 2026 local elections, the biggest electoral test since Labour's landslide in July 2024, and quite possibly the most consequential set of council votes in a generation. We've got Reform UK on the march, the Greens staging a full-scale insurgency in urban Britain, Labour bracing for catastrophe, and the Tories quietly hoping they don't completely disappear. Buckle up, because this is going to be one of those nights that people talk about for years. Let's start with the headline numbers, because they are absolutely brutal. Around 5,000 council seats are up across England, and Labour is defending roughly 2,550 of them. Top forecaster Lord Hayward, a man who correctly called the 1992 election and has no interest in sugarcoating anything, predicted Labour could lose 1,850 of those seats. That would leave the governing party clinging onto barely a quarter of the councillors they're defending. That is not a bad night. That is a political extinction event with a side of humiliation. And here's the thing that makes it even more excruciating for Starmer's lot. They're not even losing to the right people. In a normal political world, when a Tory government collapses and Labour takes over, the next set of elections sees Labour cleaning up at the local level. That's how the pendulum is supposed to swing. But Reform UK has essentially parked itself in the swing zone and refused to move. Lord Hayward predicted Reform would scoop up around 1,550 seats, mostly in white working-class areas, the very heartlands that Labour took for granted for decades and have now completely abandoned them in return. Speaking of Reform, Nigel Farage went into Election Day saying his party feels pretty optimistic about its prospects. Now, coming from Farage, a man who treats optimism like a controlled substance, that is practically euphoric. And the numbers back him up. Reform are expected to storm through councils in Essex, Norfolk, and across the Midlands and the North. YouGov projected they could even push Labour into third place in Scotland. Third place. In Scotland, a country where Labour once had a stranglehold so tight they thought it was constitutionally guaranteed. Not anymore. Then there's Wales. Oh, Wales. Labour has controlled the devolved Welsh government in Cardiff since Wales got its own parliament 27 years ago. Not anymore, according to every poll going. In what could be the most symbolic result of the entire night, Labour looks set to lose its grip on the Senedd for the first time in Welsh devolution history. A more in common poll had Reform neck and neck with Plaid Cymru in Labour's former heartland. The valleys, the communities where coal miners once marched under red banners and Labour was less a party and more a religion, are sending a very different message now. Now here's where it gets genuinely fascinating, because this election isn't just a Reform story. Enter Zack Polanski, the self-described eco-populist, proudly vegan, 43-year-old Green Party leader who has somehow managed to build a genuine left-wing insurgency in the ruins of Labour's urban coalition. YouGov reckoned the Greens could come first in as many as 8 of London's 32 councils. 8. A party that a few years ago was a marginal curiosity is now knocking on the door of running significant chunks of the capital. Polanski has been compared to New York's Zoran Mamdani, a charismatic left populist tapping into housing costs, inequality, and disillusionment with centrist Labour on everything from Gaza to the cost of living. The Green surge in places like Hackney looks near certain. And as Professor Tony Travis from LSE put it, the surge of Reform and the Greens simultaneously is going to produce something Britain's local government has never really dealt with before, a string of councils with no overall majority, no workable coalition, and years of paralysis ahead. We're potentially looking at German-style multi-party coalition horse trading playing out in borough councils across England. In a Wetherspoons, at 10:30 on a Friday morning. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister who promised change and then delivered some of the least popular policies in modern British political history, cutting pensioners' winter fuel payments, scrapping working from home tax relief, presiding over the Mandelson-Epstein scandal, offered the country this inspiring vision on the eve of polling day: unity or division, progress versus the politics of anger. That was his pitch. His closing argument. And the country, by all indications, has responded by voting for the politics of anger in absolutely record numbers. The results will trickle in from Thursday night, with most councils declaring on Friday and a full picture expected by Friday afternoon. What we know already is that whatever the final numbers say, the map of British politics will look dramatically different by the weekend. Labour's red wall is being demolished brick by brick. The Tories are fighting for survival. Reform is rewriting the rules. And the Greens are picking off every disaffected left-winger Labour forgot to look after. History is being made in real time, and you are watching it unfold. Stay locked into British reform for every result, every seismic shift, and every political bombshell as the counts come in. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing, smash that like button, and drop a comment below. Who do you think is going to be the biggest winner and the biggest loser